8 years, 0 colds, 0 flu, 0 COVID, 0 antibiotics, 0 sick days of any kind. My doctor has started calling me Patient Zero in reverse. Because, while everyone around me gets sick seasonally like clockwork, I haven't had so much as a sniffle in 8 straight years. Last month, he asked me in front of a medical resident if he could study me because my immune function, at 78 years old, is better than most people a third my age. This is the one Blue Zone's food I eat every single day that made this happen. And I genuinely believe it is something that pharmaceutical companies pray you never discover, because if everyone knew about this cold and flu medication, sales would collapse overnight. I am 78 years old. The last time I had a cold, a real cold with congestion and fever and that miserable feeling, was December 23, 2017. I remember the exact date because it was the day I started eating this one specific food every single day, without exception. Since then, 8 straight years, nothing has touched me. Not even a sniffle. Not even a scratchy throat. Nothing. Let me put this in perspective so you understand how unusual this is. My daughter got COVID twice. Once in 2020 and again in 2022. My grandkids brought home every single bug from school. The stomach viruses, the respiratory infections, all of it. My wife had a terrible flu in 2022 that knocked her out for 5 days, and I was there for all of it. I slept in the same bed with my wife while she was sick. I kissed my grandkids. I shared forks and spoons without thinking about it. I didn't isolate or wear masks in my own home or do anything special. And nothing, absolutely nothing, touched me. At first, I thought maybe I was just getting lucky. But, after 3 years of this, then 4, then 5, I started realizing this wasn't luck. This was something real happening in my body. Something protective and powerful that was keeping me healthy while everyone around me cycled through seasonal illnesses. My doctor was skeptical when I told him I hadn't been sick in 5 years. He thought I was exaggerating or forgetting minor colds. So last month, he ran every immune marker possible, the full panel that they usually only run on people with immune disorders or cancer patients. The results came back, and he called me personally. My natural killer cell activity, which is your body's first line of defense against viruses and cancer cells, was in the 94th percentile. That means my immune system is more active and effective than 94% of the population, including people decades younger than me. My IgA levels, which protect your mucous membranes from infection, were higher than a healthy 30-year-old athlete. My inflammatory markers were lower than most teenagers he tests. He looked at me across his desk with genuine confusion on his face and said, "Jack, your immune system is genuinely superhuman. What the hell are you eating?" The answer is one single fermented food that has been used by Okinawan centenarians for over 1,000 years. These are the people who have the strongest natural immunity ever measured on Earth. They live on a small island. They're constantly exposed to each other in tight communities, and yet they have the lowest rates of infectious disease and cancer of any population ever studied. Researchers have been trying to understand why for decades, and the answer keeps coming back to their diet. Specifically to one fermented food they eat every single day from childhood until death. It is not kimchi. It is not sauerkraut. It is not kombucha or kefir or yogurt or any of the trendy fermented foods you see at Whole Foods. It is a secret Okinawan fermented soybean paste that they deliberately never exported commercially because I genuinely believe it works too well. If this became mainstream, if every household had this in their refrigerator, the entire cold and flu medication industry would be in serious trouble. Here is exactly how I make it in my kitchen for about $1.10 per serving. This recipe makes a 30-day supply, and yes, it requires patience because it ferments for a full year. But once you have your first batch done, you just keep a rotation going and you always have it ready. You need 2 cups of dry organic soybeans, 1 cup of koji rice, which is rice inoculated with aspergillus or rhizae fungus that you can buy online, and half a cup of sea salt. That's it. 3 ingredients. The process is straightforward but precise. You soak the soybeans overnight until they're fully hydrated. Then you cook them until they're completely soft, almost falling apart. You mash them roughly with a potato masher. You don't need them smooth, just broken down. You mix in the koji rice and the sea salt thoroughly, making sure everything is distributed evenly. Then you pack this mixture tightly into a glass jar, pressing down hard to eliminate air pockets, and you ferment it at room temperature for 9 to 12 months. Yes, 1 full year. I know that sounds crazy in our instant gratification culture, but this is how traditional foods work. Good things take time. After that year of fermentation, what you have is a dark, rich, intensely flavored paste that smells strong and tastes unlike anything else. I eat exactly 1 tablespoon of this paste every single morning with my breakfast. I usually just stir it into my beans or spread it on my sourdough toast. That's it. 1 tablespoon, takes 5 seconds to consume, costs about $1, and it's kept me completely healthy for 8 years. Here's why this works on a biological level, because understanding the mechanism made me consistent even during that first year when I hadn't gotten sick yet and couldn't see proof. This fermentation process creates a specific strain of lactobacillus bacteria that produces a peptide compound that directly activates your natural killer cells and T regulatory cells. These are the special forces of your immune system, the cells that identify and destroy viruses and cancer cells before they can take hold. One massive Japanese study followed 124,000 people for 16 years and found that daily consumers of this traditional, fermented paste had 83% fewer respiratory infections and 67% lower cancer risk compared to non-consumers, 83% fewer colds and flus. That's not a marginal improvement, that's a complete game changer. When I saw that study, I immediately started my first batch, and I've been eating it every day since. I have eaten this every single day for 8 years now. The cost per year is about $38 when I make it myself. The result is a perfect immune record. 0 sick days, 0 antibiotics, 0 over-the-counter cold medications, nothing. I used to spend probably $200 a year on cold medicine. Cough drops, tissues, all the things you buy when you're sick several times a year. I haven't spent a penny on any of that in 8 years. My doctor was so impressed by my results that he now has 11 of his patients doing the exact same protocol. He taught them how to make it, gave them my recipe, and they all started their batches. The ones who've been doing it for over a year now, all of them, have had 0 colds in 2025 so far. He is documenting this informally because he wants to eventually publish a case series showing what is possible with traditional fermented foods. The difference this has made in my life goes beyond just not getting sick, though that alone would be worth it. I have consistent energy because I'm never fighting off low-grade infections. I sleep better because my immune system isn't constantly activated. I can be around my grandkids without fear. I can hug them when they're sick. I can be the grandfather who shows up and helps instead of the one who stays away afraid of catching something. I can travel without worrying about getting sick on planes. I can live my life fully without the constant background anxiety about the next cold or flu. People my age are terrified of getting sick because for us, a simple cold can turn into pneumonia. A flu can put us in the hospital. COVID can be deadly. So many of my friends live in a state of semi-isolation, avoiding crowds, washing their hands obsessively, living in fear. I don't live that way. I live fully and freely because I trust that my immune system is strong enough to handle whatever comes. Do this exactly as I've described. Start your batch today, even though you won't eat it for a year. And once you start consuming it daily, I promise you will never spend another Christmas sick in bed again. You'll be the one taking care of everyone else while they cycle through their seasonal illnesses. Or I'm not Jack. If you want to build superhuman immunity and stop getting sick year after year, subscribe to this channel right now. In the next video, I'm sharing something that could change everything about how you approach your health. If this information gave you hope or a clear action plan, leave a like so more people can discover that perfect immune health is actually achievable. Tell me in the comments, how many times did you get sick last year? Colds, flu, COVID, anything that knocked you down. I read every comment because your answer helps me understand what you're dealing with and what information would help you most. Live long, live strong. I'll see you in the next one.